Good morning, dear children. Today I will teach you the Tughlaq dynasty, chapter 6. The Tughlaq dynasty, which existed from the year 1320 till the year 1412. This dynasty came after the Khilji dynasty, after the death of the Alauddin Khilji. After death of Alauddin Khilji, there was a lot of confusion in the whole state. Therefore, his general Ghazi Malik declared himself as to be an independent king and founded the Tughlaq dynasty. He renamed himself and called himself as Sultan Ghazuddin Tughlaq. He also built cities known as Tughlaqabad in Delhi, and also he held lot many of expeditions in Warangal, Odisha and Bengal. These all expeditions were very successful and his kingdom started getting enlarged. It spread to larger areas. After all his expeditions, when he was returned to Delhi, his son Jona Khan raised big gate to welcome his father that is Ghazi Malik. So Ghazi Malik was welcomed after his successful expeditions by his son Jona Khan. However, Ghazi Malik, that is the Sultan, was killed when the gate collapsed. This gate was built under Jona Khan, and it is believed that Jona Khan had hatched a plan to kill his father. Thus, Jona Khan was successful in killing his father and became the next Sultan and came to be known as Mohammed bin Tughlaq in the year 1324 CE. Mohammed bin Tughlaq was a very attractive character in the history of medieval India, owing to his ambitious schemes and many experiments. His experiments were all failures because they were all ahead of their times. Mohammed bin Tughlaq was the only really Sultan who had received a comprehensive literary, religious, philosophical education, which means he was very highly educated during that time. He also wanted to make Devagiri his second capital so that he might be able to control South India better. Moving on, we will see all his new ideas which failed miserably. The first idea was taxation in the Doab region. Here, Doab means it is the region between the two rivers, and here the region was between the river Ganga and the Yamuna. The Sultan made an ill decision in financial experiment in the Doab region. He not only raised, that is increased the tax, but also re-charged some additional taxes. According to the taxes were increased that were 10 to 20 times much more higher. And that very year a famine happened in Delhi and people were not able to produce many more crops. Sultan adopted measures to bring back the peasants to the original homes, and this created a lot of problem in the whole region. Thus, the taxation of Doab was a miserably failed experiment. Next was the token currency. The next step of Sultan was the introduction of the token currency, that was the copper tanka. He had introduced the copper currency in 1330 AD and ordered that coins of copper currency should be considered equal in value of those gold and silver coins. So now people who had taken the debts in gold coins, they returned in copper coins. And copper, as it was easy available metal, people with the good intentions, they all advised the Sultan that he was doing a mistake. But He did not listen to anyone, and in the result he failed. In spite of his good intention of helping people, he simply failed simply because he was much ahead of his time, because all the people who had taken debts in gold and silver coins were returning instead of copper coins. People also started making copper coins in their own houses, as it was an easily available metal. Moving on next to the transfer of capital, the Sultan shifted the capital from Delhi to Devagiri, as he thought that it will be easier for him to manage. Delhi was nearer to the northern western frontier, which was exposed to Mongol invasions, but Devagiri would be safe free from Mongol raids. Devagiri was situated at the central place, so the administration of the north and the south could be possible. But this expedition also failed. It failed because people were finding it very difficult to get comfortable in that environment. So Mohammed bintoGul realized his mistake and ordered people to return back to Delhi. And because of this, there was a lot of confusion and many people died. So the transfer of capital was also a big mistake done by the Sultan. Moving on next, his expansion policy. He thought of conquering the whole world and sent his army to conquer China. Thus many of his soldiers died while crossing Himalayas. Thus this plan also was a major disaster of conquering the world. Moving on further, we will see the results of his policies were that the royal treasury was badly exhausted. Revolts broke out in many places as they were hating the Sultan for all his mistakes. Rana of Mewar recovered the lost territories of Chittor and Ranthambore. As the Sultan was busy in his mistakes and correcting them, others sultans, the other Rajputs, were all taking advantage of the situation and were getting more popular. Thus, Bengal and Sindh also declared their independence. His plans majorly failed because he was ahead of his times and people were too backward to understand his new ideas. Moving on further, we will see Piroshatu Gluck. He was the cousin of Mohammed bintoGul and succeeded him in the year 1351. He believed that Mohammed bintoGul failed because he lacked the support of ulemas and the nobles, so he tried to keep everyone happy and gave them lands to keep them more happier. Piroshatu Gluck was an ideal king and a pious ruler. He simplified the legal system and discouraged the use of spies. He believed people. He showed human attitude while dealing with slaves. He reduced the land revenue and cancelled the loans during famines. Thus he revived agriculture, and he also revived the lost faith of the people. He tried to promote trade and reduce the octroi tax. He opened number of madrasas and he was a great builder. He also established many cities such as Firozpur, Jaunpur, Firozabad and Palace Fortress Complex, Firoz Shah Kotla at Delhi. The biggest drawback of Firoz Shah was he again started the Jagirdari system that became a burden on the states. Firoz Shah died in the year 1388 and after his death civil war broke out in the state and many rulers became independent. Thus Delhi was which was a large area, it only shrunk to a small area. Moving on next to the architecture part, I will show you some slides on the architecture of the Tughlaq dynasty. You can see the tomb of Ghazi Tughlaq. It is situated on the south of the fortress of Tughlaqabad. built by Ghazi Tughlaq in the year 1325. The structure is a symbol of elegance, and this Tughlaqabad fort is a foreground done in a small dome in background. Moving on next, you can see the ruins of Piroshatu fort. This picture is also there in your books. You can have a close glance at the ruins of the Piroshatu fort. Now let us compare the Khilji dynasty and the Tughlaq dynasty. All the administrative decisions taken by Alauddin Khilji were all successful, but the decisions taken by Mohammed bin Tughlaq were all a complete failure. Chronicles praised his reign for its cheap prices and efficient supplies of goods in the market, and his ideas created complication, that is shifting of people to Daulatabad, which resented the raising of taxes and further widespread the rebels. He successfully withstood with the threat of Mongol invasions. They were threatened by the Mongols, and the token currency was also recalled. So we can see, to some extent you can say, the Khilji dynasty was a successful one, but Tughlaqs had a very difficulty in reigning the Sultanate. Moving on further, one more reason to the blowout of Tughlaq dynasty was the Timur's invasion. In the year 1398, Timur invaded northern India, attacking Delhi during the time of Sultan Nasiruddin Mahmud Shah Tughlaq. Lot many people died, and the entire city turned itself into a graveyard. The Sultan himself fled away, thus Timur got an opportunity, and he appointed his governor Khizr Khan Sayyad as to be the head. Timur's attack resulted as a blow to the end of the Tughlaq dynasty and inspired other people also to come and invade India. Thus, Khizr Khan Sayyad founded the Sayyad dynasty, was founder and previously was governor of Punjab on the behalf of Timur. He also took Delhi Sultan by the defeated weak rulers, succeeded by Muhammad Shah, a weak ruler. He succeeded by Alauddin Alam and decided to live in Badana, not in Delhi. He also appointed Ibrahim Lodi as the governor of Delhi. Ibrahim Lodi was the founder of Lodi dynasty in the Delhi Sultanate. And became the Sultan in the year 1451 on 19th of April. After Ibrahim Lodi, his son Sikandar Lodi, who was born in Nizam as Nizam Khan, became the Sultan of Delhi in the year 1489 till 1517. He became the next ruler of the Lodi dynasty after the death of the father Ibrahim Lodi in July 1489. And the last was Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi became the Sultan of Delhi in 1517 after the death of his father Sikandar Lodi. He was the last ruler of the Lodi dynasty, and he reigned was for 9 years between 1517 until getting defeated and killed. He was defeated by Babur in the first battle of Panipat in 1526 CE. Daulat Khan Lodi, a cousin of Sultan Ibrahim, unsatisfied by Sultan's rule, persuaded Zariuddin Muhammad, that is Babur, to invade India and defeat the Sultan. So at the great battle of Panipat, Ibrahim Lodi's large army was defeated by Babur and a new dynasty was founded by Babur, that was the Mughal dynasty. And here we come to the end of the chapter. I hope the chapter is clear to you. You refer your own book with the slides. Thank you.